Welcome to Athletic Definition. I am your host, Coach Ray Z, and today is Finding Inspiration 2.0. I did this show a couple weeks ago. I did some of my favorite inspirational quotes. At the time, it seemed like a lot of bad news was going on, especially in this country, just with everything going on. Even if you're a positive person, sometimes you just need a little bit of inspiration. So I went over some of my quotes. Unfortunately, I had a little bit of audio issue, so I wanted to do it again, but I also selected some different quotes. I find inspiration everywhere, and that's what I'm trying to show. If you're down, you could listen to music, watch a movie, watch anything. I'm a big endurance athlete. I completed 57 marathons. I also have a blue belt in jiu-jitsu, done some boxing, play basketball. And with me doing all kinds of different training and arts and sports, I've kind of seemed to notice that a lot of people seem to think people who fight are kind of barbaric or, not very bright or Neanderthals or something within that context. But that's not the case. I've had plenty of fighters. Actually, on my last show, you can go back at Winston Ramos from Brazil. Current fighter right now, you can hear his intelligence. You can check that one out, or past fighters. And I wanted to talk about, in particular, one named Kahili Roundtree. This happened quite a few years back, but me and him, we're on the same page. We're trying to change the world for a better place, to inspire people, especially those people that are in need. So this happened back in UFC 50. He finishes, he wins the fight, and I don't know exactly who interviews him, but he goes, before I go on, I want to say that this marks my 12th year of fighting, and I don't want to have to wait till I'm a champion uh, to be able to tell my story of how I was a fat 300-pound kid on the brink of suicide, uh, burdened by depression, not knowing what to do with my life, not knowing where I'm going. And he just wants to inspire people that felt that way. And that's basically his whole thing. He wants to let other people know, to hang on, to keep going. And I'm gonna be posting the links if you want to watch the full interview, because there's a little bit more, and very inspirational guy. A little bit after that, another interview, they asked them, what kind of advice would you give to someone who's going through what you're going through, or someone who's overweight, uh, that's depressed. And he said, it may sound a little bit cliche, but your life matters. Your life matters. You can be special. You can be strong. You can you can be seen. You can be heard. Life is beautiful if you make it that way. It doesn't have to be how everybody else makes it seem. Stick around. Stick around for another day. I would have a lot of things like that to say. And I know he was on Joe Rogan, and I've seen him on a couple other podcasts, and he was saying how he's just trying to raise money so he can help out other people that are lost and have no direction. And I know when I was younger, I felt like I had no direction. A lot of people knew what they wanted to do career wise. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a lawyer. But for the longest time I could remember, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So for the people that feel alone, that feel empty, that feel that they don't have any direction, just keep going. And I definitely would love to personally invite you to my podcast. I'm going to be reaching out to you. And hey, Fireside is a great platform for you to reach your goal and reach your message of reaching millions of people because of the way they do with a simulcast and the interactive audience. So I will be reaching out, and hopefully he comes on. I would love to have him on. Uh, this other one, it's a bit older as well. Um, Tim Tebow. I don't remember if he got invited to some Academy Awards or some sort of award show with acting. And for those of you who don't know, Tim Tebow he was a really good, excellent college football player. He in the NFL he struggled. He wasn't really uh, meant to be an NFL quarterback, although he did have one really miraculous win with Denver, I believe, against Pittsburgh. And then he was out of the league, and this is when he started playing baseball. So when he was playing baseball, they asked him, how was that? How did it feel for you to go on the red carpet? And he starts talking about that. And I don't think, the reporters were expecting what he answered, and he talks about how that was a great experience, and then you can translate that into sports. And he starts talking about so much of sports is pressure, but what pressure do you really have if you're 0 for 12 and compared to someone who's fighting for their life, or thrown away and found, and they find them on the road in Haiti because they're crippled. And to him there is no comparison. um, so he talks about that, and I think about that all the time too. It's like I love sports and working out, and for me it's been life-saving, but there's other people that are going through way worse. And whatever it is you're going through, there's someone out there who does care. Some of these people that I'm mentioning, that's what they're trying to do, is impact you for the for the better. And Tim Tebow goes on to say that, sports, you can pursue it, you can give it your time, your energy, but at the end of the day, that's not why he's here. That's not his calling. That's not how he wants to be known in his life. He wants to be known for much more than that. And this is probably my favorite part of the whole little speech. He says, "I want to be known for bringing hope, faith, and love, those needing a brighter day in their darkest hour of need." And for a long time, I'm like, yeah, I want to be the known as the guy who ran 100 marathons and got his black belt and this and that. But when I started this podcast, the whole purpose of it was for me to reach more people, to change more people's life. And really, I mean, running 100 marathons, if you've seen some of my past shows, I brought on people who've run over 500 marathons. So it's special and it's different because only 1% of the population ever completes a marathon. But at the end of the day, I would personally be more fulfilled knowing that I impacted lives for the better, uh, changed it. I know I used working out a lot when I was depressed, and working out is something free that you can do even if you don't have a gym membership. You can go running, you can do push-ups, you can do planks. There's plenty of things you can do just to get those endorphins going. Once you start getting those endorphin goings, maybe you start seeing results, then that motivation comes. So, and also it's such a great way to get out stress, anger, especially if you're really, really angry. Take up boxing. You don't have to fight anybody, but you can punch the bag. Jiu-jitsu is great as well. I mean, I even like medicine balls. You can just not medicine balls, slam balls. You can slam them against the concrete and just really let it all out there so that you don't have nothing left. But I think that is one of my favorite speeches from Tim Tebow. It really gets me going. And as I mentioned, you can pretty much find inspiration anywhere. So I've been a WWE fan for many years, and I watch it on and off, on and off. And the Ultimate Warrior passed away, geez, back in 2014. But he inspired a bunch of kids growing up. I remember when he passed away, even the UFC made like a tweet or put something in between a fight. And he got into a fight with a CEO, Vince McMahon, and he was out of there for a long time. And then they like forgave each other. He got inducted into the Hall of Fame, and then he showed up to Monday Night Raw for the first time in I don't know how many years. And he gives his speech, and the speech to me is very interesting because the next day he passed away. And some of the words that he says makes you kind of think like, did he know? Or so he says, every man's heart one day beats its final beat. His lungs breathe their final breath. And if what that man did in his life makes the blood pulse the, through the body of others and makes them bleed deeper for something larger than life, then his essence, his spirit will be immortalized by the storytellers, by the loyalty, by the memory of those who honor him, making the running, making the man what he did live forever. And as I mentioned, the next day he passed. So it may not be the most inspirational, but I really like the words to it, and I like to watch it too. And then especially knowing that he passed and what he said is true. It's basically what I'm saying. What on the last one, if you want to go check it out, Ray Lewis is gives a lot of good speeches, and he talks about leave your legacy. If you're gonna leave your legacy, what do you want to be known for? After working in the corporate world for I don't know how many years and climbing up my ladder into, treasury management, and I wasn't satisfied. It wasn't fulfilling. It was fulfilling for a while, and it was fulfilling in money wise and vacation wise. But you know, whatever belief you want, like I felt like my soul was dying in that. I I wanted to give more, and that place was holding me back. Um, and I was already on my way out. Then the whole pandemic happened, and I'm like, I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna, change lives. I'm gonna quit my job with a month's vacation, weekends off, health insurance, medical insurance, everything that I could kind of supposedly want. And I'm going to take a job making less money, working at a gym, helping people work out and training. And then the first day that I start working, after I walk away from that, uh, the second wave of COVID hit and I got laid off. That really made me reevaluate, is this something that I want to do? How serious are you about wanting to do this? And it was difficult, and it's still difficult right now. I'm pursuing my dreams. And right now, it's like you just work and work. And it's kind of like when you start working out, you're just putting in a lot of work and you may not see the results, but that's okay. Every once in a while, maybe you'll feel a little faster, or you'll be able to throw that punch a little better, or make that jump shot a little better than before. Uh, and every once in a while, someone will give you words of encouragement. I know I've been getting nothing but trolls lately, just leaving negative comments. But finally, someone left, "Hey, I just want to let you know you inspire me." And for me, that's enough. A little bit of positivity will be like, "Hey, I reached one person," or, you know, I motivated them to work out. And before that, it was months ago, but I got a message from someone in France, and they wanted to work out. Their English wasn't too good and my French wasn't too good, and even with translator we couldn't, but I could understand it. They got motivated, and I'm like, okay, that is the cool thing about the podcast. I've reached all 50 states, and I lost track of how many countries I've reached. And the long run, of course, it'd be great to make Joe Rogan money and $200 million. But touching lives, changing lives, you know, sh- ha- giving bright hope to people in their darkest hour of need. If I could do that, I would be truly satisfied. So one of my favorite speakers is Dr. Eric Thomas. He goes by E.T. the Preacher, and he got hired by Dick's Sporting Goods to go speak to the Paralympians. So to me, I mean, being a motivational speaker, I think can be tough, but when you're going to already inspire people that, first of all, they already have some sort of, you know, something, maybe a limb missing or something. They're already going through challenges, and they're already extraordinary people, in my opinion, because they're athletes and they're competing in the Olympics. So for you to try to motivate someone who's already gone through some such adversity, and then they're, to me, on a different level, but he goes in there and he talks about how he can kill a alligator with his bare hands. And they're like, well, how can you do that? And he talks about how after an alligator eats, he almost goes into a coma. He just becomes so satisfied that it's like he doesn't even move. So if you're gonna kill an alligator, you attack it right after it eats, because it gets so satisfied. It's like a stage. It's almost paralyzed. And then he says, some of you in this room, are you paralyzed? You had a little success. You've done what no one in your family has done, and now you're chilling. Come on, you ain't hungry no more. You should still be hungry. What have you done? What have you accomplished that got you so full? And then he goes on to talk about his mother-in-law who ends up getting cancer, and she goes to the doctor, and the doctor's telling her, you're going to die. This is how much time you have to live. And she goes on to say, I don't care nothing about a doctor. My niece, and then my grandson's graduating, and then after that I have another niece, and after she graduates, then maybe I'll die, but until then I ain't going nowhere. And there's more to this speech, so I'll be sure to link it on there if you want to watch the rest. But if you don't know much about him, he was basically homeless, and he ate out of trash cans. So sometimes people always like to be like, well, it's easy for you to talk. You have this or you have that. And to me, that's why I like him even more because he's such a great example. He's like, maybe I haven't been through what you've been through, but I've been through my go through. And you don't get here by quitting when you're tired. You get here by quitting when you're finished, when you're done, when you're accomplished. And he also mentioned, because he ended up going and got his PhD, and he mentioned that when you get your degree, it doesn't say if it took you 1 year or 12 years to do it. And that's why he went on to do it, because he wanted to show the kids from the hood, the that it's possible to do it. And that's why he doesn't dress like in a tie when he does his speeches. He tries to stay so that the youth can relate to him more. And yeah, he's one of my favorite ones. So I'll be sure to be bringing more quotes and inspirations from Dr. Eric Thomas. And finally, I wanted to mention that, especially during the pandemic, I know a lot of people started maybe new things, new businesses, working out, new goals, and goals are not always easy. You have a plan and you think it's going to go this way, and then bam, here comes life, and it just basically kicks your ass. And maybe you stopped, or maybe you had a goal that you tried to do a long, long time ago, and something happened. Well, another one of my nice quotes that I like is, dreams don't have an expiration date. So just dust yourself off and try again. I hope you enjoyed this short episode of Finding Inspiration 2.0. I'll be bringing more motivational quotes in the future, and be sure to join me tomorrow as I will be reviewing Cathedral Rock in Arizona. It is one of my favorite hiking places. I'll be giving you little details, and on the video edits, I'll be showing you how you can hike it. So I usually do a podcast and give you like the nitty gritty, and then I release an episode with the perspective with my GoPro. That way, in case you want to go hiking, and if you're ever going to go hiking anywhere, Sedona, Arizona is one of my happy places. It's one of the places where I like to go and just kind of basically get away from all the technology, the phones, the cell phone, and just go hiking and just really be at one with nature. And every time I go there, I feel re energized. So that'll be tomorrow at 1 p.m. Pacific time zone. Thank you for joining me. My name is Coach Ray Z, Athletic Definition, and I'm out.